Northwest, we want to talk to you about a ministry that really was stemmed from the love y'all provided to our family.
So we went in for our 20-week ultrasound, and I remember being in the ultrasound room, and the tech kept hovering over one spot a little too long, and so I looked at Brad and I whispered, "Something's wrong." And the doctor came in and she said, "Have you ever heard of congenital diaphragmatic hernia?" And of course we had not. And she said it is a very rare condition where the diaphragm does not form when they are in utero, which makes all the contents of their stomach move up into their chest, making it impossible for lung growth. And we said, "Well, what does this mean? Could it be mild? Is it fixable?" And she said, "His case looks pretty severe and his hole looks pretty severe. And so he probably won't survive after he's born." We went for a scan at Vanderbilt to see if maybe they could tell us something that would make it feel better, or something to tell us what our prognosis was. They took us to a room and they told us, it is as bad as your doctor said it was, and we give you about a 30% chance of him surviving. I honestly hadn't even thought about a second opinion, but my post on Facebook had kind of gotten around the CDH community, because there's a whole community of CDH families, and people kept emailing us, private messaging us, "Have you heard of Dr. K's in Florida?"
Yeah, and just honestly through the Holy Spirit, He gave us people that reached out and told us about the Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital and the gentleman there that specializes in congenital diaphragmatic hernia with CDH. And to make a long story short, we visited as quickly as we could. God opened the door, allowed us to get in. Dr. K's gave us a 95% chance of survival. But truly, by the grace of God, we were led to St. Pete. And, I know I'm summarizing probably too quickly, but, the rest is history. God just answered so many prayers through that process. One being the Northwest Church. And through that, now we're 2.5, almost 3 years later, and God is opening the door to what we feel like is one of the main reasons we were given this challenge, so that we could partner with you guys. And we had to move to St. Pete a month before Kaiden was born, just to make sure we were close to the hospital in case anything happened. And during that time, the Luciuses, I think I'm saying their name correctly, reached out, and they connected us with other people at the church. So that was the initial connection.
They also were so good to us. I mean, these people who didn't know us at all were bringing our family food, and they were taking us out on their boats, and just really showing the love of Christ and what church is all about. And the fact that our kids got to witness that, and at a time where you literally are at your lowest and you just could use all the love of Jesus, and they provided that for us. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, with Kaiden's house being not just saving lives, because truly people being able to relocate to St. Pete will save their baby's life. But even more than that, there's such an opportunity to save their soul.
Once we were there, God blessed Tia and I where we could rent a home there. And it was such a blessing to have all of our kids together, because it was hard enough time, but if we had to leave our 4 kids behind, literally we would not have made it. And so we knew we had to be together, and we knew this was a journey we'd walk through together. And after that, we always said we have to figure out a way to help people. We kind of had this dream. And it was just a dream that God gave us. And, you know, as it developed, you know, I contacted you guys. Tom Peebles visited us several times in the hospital. And he was just such a gentle spirit. He and his wife were just a perfect, you know, couple to minister to us at that time in the hospital. And we've always talked about, you know, it's just the love of Jesus in their hearts, and we've got to share that with people. It's just through prayer, just through y'all's church, all those different scenarios, God just worked out a path for this. And, you know, like I was telling you, George, just the night I got to meet with y'all via Zoom in the elders meeting, Tia and I prayed right before the meeting and said, Lord, if this is your will, let us find a way to move forward with this housing project. And then you guys offered the house that y'all have coming up for rent. It was a total godsend, a total answer to prayer, because not only were y'all offering us a house for a cheaper monthly price than we could ever find down there if we did something different, it was right next to your church where people can minister to these people. It's just perfect.
So I guess our dream is just that these families can come, they can have a place to stay where they can stay together. They can be connected to the church for any needs that they have. The church can show them the love of Christ. And
but it's a refuge. I mean, that's when I think of Kaiden's house, to me the refuge comes to mind. Because when we were there, you know, the Ronald McDonald House, as we were talking about, is such a great organization, but you have no privacy. We needed, as a family, a place to retreat. And if these families have a house they can go to, and just for a moment, they're away from the hospital, they can just relax for a minute and be together as a family, that's life-changing in that scenario.
We're the best family! And we live in Nashville. And we love Northwest.
And we ride the horse.
Yes, we ride the horse.